Hello folks, and welcome to Linux for Seniors. So if you clicked on this video and you've never heard of my channel, I'll take you on a brief tour and give you some tips while you're navigating that new channel of mine. This is not the first time that I've done videos on YouTube, by the way, so I'll touch upon that in a couple of minutes. Anyways, EndeavourOS, an Arch-based distribution. As I pointed out in my intro video for this, a tour and an overview, anyone can use, even Endeavors. Even though it's an Arch-based system, because you can do things quite easily in here, actually. So I'm going to be talking about your appearance, not your appearance, but the appearance of your system. In other words, your icon sets and themes, some people call it. But I'm going to first just give you an introduction to myself if you've never seen my videos and or want to know what Linux for Seniors is all about. So let me click the About section for a second, and then I'm going to highly encourage that you subscribe, because none of my videos are going to be under 2 minutes. None. So been around Linux for over 25 years. My intent is to try to make simple videos. Not only for seniors, but basically Linux for any age. So I thought I would basically share some of my information that I've learned over the last 25 years with Linux, and promote that information. And it's also good for the Linux distributions, and there are many out there. I have all kinds of materials in the video section. I also, on my last channel, people asked me what was my last channel, and basically you know, what was on there. Well, it's a similar material. It was Linux Tips by Thor. You can actually Google that, but you won't find the site open anymore, but you could read about it. And you'll notice that it says over 400 videos. It was actually 450, but who's counting? And it is discontinued and closed. So my new channel here, my focus is on intent on making simple videos. That's why they're so long. I try to explain things in a very methodical way. I make references like use the magnifying glass for keyword search in here if you've got a standard web browser. That's why I'm doing this intro video here pretty much before I get into the meat of talking about the appearance for this distribution. But more importantly, hopefully you will become a subscriber. There's a lot of benefits. So I do recommend, if all possible, that you view this on the largest screen possible for you. It's always nice to view large screens. I'm going to do something that some folks already know this trick. I'm using the native the native web browser for this distribution, Firefox. And I'm doing something here that a lot of people know what I'm doing here. It's making everything large. I'm going to go back and put it back to about here. What I'm doing here is holding down my control key with my left hand and scrolling up and down with my computer mouse. Anyways, I'll get into the file manager briefly, because I'm also going to be basically advocating that you do screenshots when you make system changes. And I'll basically go into the file manager and give you my best practices. Again, it's my opinion. Such as a lot of things, everybody has different opinions. Now, I do have on this channel comments turned on. However, on my previous channel, some people decided to abuse that. So basically, I screen them. So if I find salty language, it's deleted. If you post malicious links, it's deleted. So let's please keep the salty language. If you have the inclining of making salty language, please don't take offense to this, but please go elsewhere and watch YouTube's there. I don't think it's necessary to do that. If you got nothing to say, basically move on, okay? And again, you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. So with that said, I'm not going to get into talking about that, but on my previous YouTube site, I actually had to shut him off because it got a little ridiculous. That's the only reason I mention all this. So let's move forward in a positive manner. If you have a newer smart TV, a large smart TV, and those smart TVs also contain, obviously, applications that you can run YouTube on. Or if you're using an Amazon Fire Stick or something similar, like maybe Roku. You can watch my videos also on your smart TVs. Just look up Linux for Seniors. And you can share that with your friends and family, hopefully. So anyways, if you are using this distribution, for instance, and you're viewing a video on, let's say you've got Endeavors installed on your laptop or any other Linux distro that you're trying to watch my videos on, because I have lots of subjects, then you have a large screen to look at the same time while having your laptop open, and you can follow along, as one would say. I had a comment the other day, so I thought I'd start making mention of some of this. If your video is blurry, there could be multiple reasons for that. Slow internet connection. Also, you could be watching YouTube during the prime time, and sometimes they lower the quality. But I'm going to point to a gearbox in this video here. I'm going to click my home screen for a second, and then I'm going to hit that pause button to pause this loud guy. So this is a typical video player on your computer. If you look below your YouTube player, you will have a gearbox like this. And you can scroll down and you can find the quality. That one says 360. That'll make the videos look kind of blurry to you. I have other options. I can go all the way up to 4K because that's what that was recorded in. Or other options that your screen resolution supports. Is what I'm getting at is you're not stuck with that 360 resolution on any YouTube videos. But a lot of times, if I'm uploading these videos also, if they're fresh, just to give you an example, I upload them to a YouTube server, and YouTube is worldwide, so they replicate that video across the world. So yes, my videos are viewed all over the planet. As a matter of fact, I just got a nice comment from somebody over in West Africa. In either case, what I'm getting at is it takes time to replicate these things. And since all my videos are done in 1080 or 4K, a lot of times when you'll see these brand new released videos, they won't have the full screen resolution on your server in your area until that's done. Normally, if you wait till the following day, they're done. But in some cases, they're available almost the next hour or even 30 minutes. It all depends on how fast the servers are working. All right? So with that said, that's what I'm referring to, the gearbox. Let's continue. So I have some links for you. DistroWatch is one of them if you're looking for other Linux distros. Mouse pointers. I do have other videos on how to install mouse pointers, cursors, large cursors, different color ones. Up at the top, if you're using a standard web browser, you have some links up here. So you got DistroWatch you can click on. And that foot over here is gnome-look.org, a nonprofit website where I get most of my mouse pointers. And also there's themes in there. All right, so you can scroll for my videos using a standard web browser. It'll be in this alignment. If you're using a mobile device, it's usually vertical. And I do recommend that you watch these on a large screen. I also recommend that you subscribe, because if you look at the time frames on these, none of my videos are under 2 minutes. Some of them are quite lengthy. Look at this Ubuntu one at 46 minutes. So if you hit subscribe, you can start watching this video. Hit stop, come back tomorrow, the next day, or following week, and click resume. That way you can continue where you left off. You'll also have access to these other videos. I have all kinds of material. My library is currently sitting, I think, at 34. And that's not too bad for somebody who started this on the 9th of February. That was 2 weeks ago, exactly, depending on when you're watching this video. Let me give you some tips. So if you notice this magnifying glass sitting here, so I'm going to click the playlist for a second, and then I'll click the community. I'll talk about this in a minute. And the about. You notice that never disappeared. On a standard web browser, this magnifying glass is here. On your mobile devices, this is the magnifying glass, and this searches all of YouTube. Standard web browser, I click this and I can use keyword searches. Let's say I'm looking for some material on like a mouse. Not the rodent, the computer mouse. Enter. It's going to search all of my current videos for the word mouse in it, somewhere inside of the video, text, and all the meta tags that I have. All my videos are tagged. These are different distributions that have the word mouse in it. Okay? Something that has to do with mouse is in here. Get the idea? Okay. So I'm going to move along. And I'll click the community tab just briefly, just to have a little bit of fun, folks. So I'm going to drag this a little higher and scroll down. I could resize this also. Maybe that'll be better. But if you got a smartphone, get out your smartphone and open the camera and point it at this thing. I'll give you the example of an iPhone. You basically open up your iPhone's camera and you point it at it, and it should have a yellow box kind of floating around in there somewhere on your screen where you can click on it, and that'll go directly, or you can bookmark my YouTube page, Linux for Seniors, and share that with your friends and family. Now I'm going to continue. So I think I've discussed all the little tips and tricks regarding my YouTube site. Now let's move on. So you are in EndeavourOS. This is a live copy. Keep that in mind when you're watching this video. However, this should work on your installation copy also. So I'm going to click Settings and Appearance for a second. I don't have a lot of themes, but let's say you add a bunch of these things. Styles. I'm also going to talk about icons. Styles and icons. They change things about your system. Whenever you change a setting on your system, I don't care if it's this system or others, I always advocate screenshots. So let's take care of this tool first. Now you have one down here. You can also go look in the Endeavour's menu, but I'm going to show you how to use this one. It should automatically come installed on your panel bar. Normally this defaults to the full screen size. You can see the background. You can see this box. And if you take that screenshot, it's called a full screenshot. However, if you hit the back arrow key, I'm going to talk about only two options today. The third one actually you can use, which when you try to do a region, it just lights up your screen with a weird color, and you can clip things out of sections. You can actually do that with web browsers too, if they're in a semi-minimized mode. Or even probably full screen if you know how to operate this tool right. But I'm going to talk about these two because I think they're important. So again, the entire screen, I'm going to do two examples, and I'm going to send the screenshots to my desktop. Okay, so the consideration is wallpaper. What do you have for wallpaper? I'm using the standard EndeavourOS wallpaper. If you have, let's say you have maybe a wallpaper of your children. Maybe it's a pet or some other wallpaper that has a lot of graphics. All that stuff gets added into this file size when you make these. So again, very simple tools. I don't use a delay. If you want to capture the mouse pointer, so be it, but I normally don't. And the capture border is already defaulted on, and you can't change that. It's just going to give you a picture of the border. Now, does this box matter where it's at? Absolutely not. The system will find it if you're doing active window, for instance. So let me do two screenshots. I'm going to first do the entire screen and let you see the file size. I have a brief thumbnail. The action default is save. Hit OK. Where do I want to save it? Normally it's pictures, but I'm going to switch this up and go to desktop. I would leave the file name alone and the extension PNG. It's just an image type of format. And we're going to talk about naming conventions a little bit later when we're talking about what's the best practices of saving these kind of screenshots. Right now we're just going to hit save. It's going to put that screenshot on my desktop. Okay. Now I'm going to basically open the tool up again and hit the back arrow key and hit active window. Again, you can put this tool also in here in your favorites if you like. It's already there. And you can put it in a lot of different places, let's put it that way. But there's a nice convenient spot sitting right here on your panel bar. So active window, I'm going to use the default, and now I can turn this on and off. But more importantly, you can also turn on capture the mouse pointer, cursor. Some people have different names for these guys. But this is all I want. And then I want to take the screenshot. Again, it doesn't matter where this box is at. You can move it around if you like. So the screenshot never takes a picture of this, by the way, the tool itself, even if you're doing full screen. So you get a preview of this thing, save. What was the last destination I saved this to or folder? Desktop. So I'm going to do the same. All right. So I'm going to close this briefly because I'm going to open these or right click on them and hit properties and move the box over here so I'll have a clean area to work with. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to first compare the actual size of the file and then I'll open them. So this one is obviously smaller. 34 KIB. It's just the way it calculates. If you want to think about it in bytes, then there you have that. This one here, on the other hand, is huge. It's 2.5 or 2.4 MIB, if you want to think about that in megabyte range. But in either case, the file is bigger. You can actually look up what these words mean on the internet, what GB and MIB and TIB mean, or KIB. It's just the calculation that it does. The more important thing here to look at is this is smaller than that. Okay, we got it so far? So if you're limited on hard drive space, I would probably use something like that. But if you can afford a large hard drive, maybe you don't care, then grab the whole screen. There's a difference though. So I'm going to double click on this thing. So this is a screenshot. So I took a picture of my box, my wallpaper. Again, if my wallpaper is super dense, this could be even a bigger image. Or if it's a black screen, it would be actually a lower file size. So I have the whole panel bar and the time and date even. All right. Now I'm going to open up the other one. The other one just took a picture of this box, and that really is all I needed because I'm looking at this thing right here. I'll show the importance of screenshots in a second. Because here's the fact. Do you remember things? Is your memory good? I'm not addressing this only to seniors, but to anyone really. But the fact remains is we do forget things. So let me go back and basically, where am I at? Settings, appearance, and open up that box. So you installed a bunch of themes. I know I only have a couple of these things, and it's pretty easy probably to figure this one out. But let's say you have a whole slew of them and you have a whole scroll bar and you forgot where you were at. So I took a screenshot of this. Let's verify that. It says arc darker. That's where my starting point is, right? Let me resize this thing and just drag it off to the side for a second. Now I'm going to get rid of that bigger screenshot because I was only doing that as an example. So it's going to go into the trash can. Okay, now I go and go take a look at your menu, and I'll open up your file manager briefly here, Thunar. Thunar is your file manager for this distribution. I'm going to do something here that, well, most people may not recognize. I'm going to first right click and make this slightly bigger. And then I'm going to do something that, if you have been seeing any of my videos, you'll probably know what I'm doing right now. I'm resizing icons. You noticed I'm not clicking on anything. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, go ahead and do it this way. You can also change the views. So what I'm doing here to make these bigger is I'm holding down my control key while scrolling up and down on my computer mouse with my right hand. It's a nice convenient way of resizing icons. It's my way. If you have your way, that's okay. We all have different ways of doing things, right? Well, let's hope so. So anyways, blue folders and stuff, right? So let's start playing. Now I have a dark thing here. Let's see what Thunar looks like now. I'll get into icon sets in a second, but you can see the difference right now, right off the bat. Let me minimize that and try something different. Not much change, maybe. Let's try another one. So as you experiment with themes, you add some. It becomes a little bit harder to remember what the original theme was. That's why I'm advocating screenshots, because I can tell right here what it was, rather off the bat. I'm just giving you an example with a couple of them, but a lot of people start adding a bunch of stuff and playing, and then eventually they go, whoa, I want to go back to the original Endeavors because that looked nicer. Okay, well, screenshot's going to help me out, right? Tell me right away, it's Arc Darker. It's that one. That was the original one. Did I close my file manager? I think I did. All right, let me try to minimize this time. So that's one screenshot. So now we're back to this style being default, right? Now let's click icons. Oop, we got a couple more choices. So another tool. I'm going to go back, use active window, and make another screenshot. And hit save. Let's take a look at that one. That one again is also a very small file. Okay. If you're limited on hard drive space, I do suggest that. So let me resize that. In either case, I could just basically resize the box, but I'm not going to really do that much. But I can tell what this is set for before I start playing. So I downloaded some more icon sets. The whole menu is full. I'll start playing. Let's go take a look and see what this looks like. Did you notice the Thunar icon just changed? So does a lot of things in your system. Like the Thunar file manager has a hammer. Kind of like that logo. Kind of like that logo. So my file manager has different icons. So I could also do this one. Menu. Looks a little different. Maybe. And we'll open up Thunar. Now they're brown. You see where I'm going with this? Hopefully. And you can, of course, resize those. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way. Click in here. But more importantly, what I'm getting at is you can have different icon sets. Here's one that may freak you out. Pay no attention to my devices because I do other things with these computers. But more importantly, let's take a look at the menus. They're different, aren't they? Look at the icons on my desktop. They're different. A lot of things are different. Get the idea? So you added a bunch of themes in here. You waited a week, 2 months, whatever, and then you decided, well, you know what, I want to go back to the original one that the EndeavourOS team put out. So let's go take a look at these screenshots. So that was the style. Clearly says that. Okay. What's this one say? Oh yeah, that's my icons. It's that one. Let's go find it. Oh, it's that one. My icons are all back to where it was. File manager is back to where it was. Well, minus the large icons. Probably, you know, you can go to the normal size one, whatever. But I know some seniors and other folks like them large. Your choice. I'm just using my trick to scroll these up and down to make them larger or smaller. All right, so I'm just showing you 2 examples today of style and icons. Can you make screenshots for other things? Absolutely, and I suggest it. So if you're in here monkeying around with your fonts, and by the way, I will make mention of this thing too for live, and this is what this is. I'm running this off a USB stick. I would not try to mess around too much with your fonts because you're better off with an installed copy than monkeying around with fonts all the time. You can actually crash your system. That's okay, you can reboot it though. But the install version, you can also change fonts if you are inclined to do so. But in this example, what I'm going to point out is I'm going to first make a screenshot of something. So this is the something. So I'm going to go back, make a screenshot of just the active window. I'm going to put this right on top and make a copy of this box only behind here. It never makes a copy of a screenshot of this. I want that to be clear. So I'm going to hit OK, save it to my desktop or send it to my desktop. So as you can see, I don't have the box in front of this, but I can clearly see all the numbers, and that's important anytime you make changes. So let's change that up a little bit. You're making big font sizes. Everything just got larger, even to the point where it's blown off the screen, right? And you're going, oh, I made a mess of things. So I could open that up. Oh yeah, there were 10. It was a size 10. So let's go fix that. So I got a choice. I can either use the drag bar or just type in 10 and hit enter. And then hit select. Now I'm back to normal. At least what I had it at previous setting, in other words. You can do this to anything that requires numbers. So if you're messing around with anything in here that has, like the panel, for instance, here's a good example of that one. So I'm going to use my tool and go with back and active window again. It doesn't matter if this box is on top of it. It doesn't care. and hit OK and save another screenshot in my desktop. So here's another one. So that one there is my panel bar. I can clearly see all the numbers. So what I'm going to do here is take a look at the panel bar. It's lit up kind of red. And I'm going to slide this over, make it a little bit smaller. Slide it back. So I'm going to crank up the numbers. I'm going to blow the icons off the screen. Ooh, I made a mess of things, right? If you didn't have a screenshot, you have no idea possibly where your default was. But I do now. It's 46. So I'll type in 46 or scroll back and forth. 46. And hit enter. Now I'm back to where I was. This is slightly bigger than normal. Just wanted to point that out. I did it just because of the video. It's normally slightly smaller than this. All right, I'm going to close that and just point to the part where in my settings, my display, I'm currently filming this in 1080. That's my normal, usually my normal default. I also film stuff in 4K, but rarely. Uploading videos to YouTube in 4K takes a lot longer. Just some bit of advice. It's not 72. However, my screen is 43. I like large screens. It's a flat screen. I can also use it for other things. My screen also has applications like YouTube. It's a smart TV. I can also put in my Fire Stick if I want to. So this monitor serves as a dual purpose. Whenever you are altering your screen resolution, if you have the option, and refresh rates, I have the option, and I hit apply and the screen goes black for more than 5 seconds, do not panic and turn your computer off. That's the worst thing you can do. Allow it to time out. Depending on the processor on your machine, it could be as long as 30 seconds, but it will revert back to the previous screen resolution. Just a little tip for you. Now I'm going to talk about these files here, a good practice to save these things. So I'm going to open up Thunar, the file manager. And do I want to resize these icons? Well, maybe so. Is that good enough? That's good enough. So I'm going to take these 4 files, 4 screenshots, and save them to my hard drive somewhere. In this case, I'm just using a live user. But pretend this is your installed copy. I could save it in documents or I can save it in pictures. That is up to you. So I'm going to use documents. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to right click in this white space and create a folder. You can name it even X if you like, but I'm going to use the name screenshot. These are just, if you want to call them best practices or any practice, these are just my ways. There's a lot of different ways that I'm sure people have out there. I'm just presenting some options for you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab one of these and drag it in here. That's one. What if I wanted these 3 all at the same time? Well, I'm going to show you a trick that maybe you haven't seen before, or maybe you have. I could click and then hold the control key and click, and then do a copy and then paste. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a box around all of them and drag them all at once. There's a little trick for you. Then I'm going to resize these things to the max. Now you can cleanly see what I'm looking at here. Then I want to resize these back. Now let's talk about the names. Are you, when you're looking at these things, are you going to remember what these are? No, you're going to open them up one at a time, more likely. How about if we do this a little bit, on the smart side? We are going to open that up for a second, and this is panel preferences. So we can call that panel if you like. Right click, rename, panel space. What's the day's date? It's down here. It's, my clock is incorrect, but it's actually the 23rd. But I'm going to put 224 in here anyways. 2-24-23 for the year. And, month and date. Let's put it that way. You can put whatever you want. I'm going to rename. So that's one. I'm going to grab a hold of this one. Let's see what that one is. Okay, that's appearance, icons. Right click, rename. You can even misspell. So we could use the word appearance Or we can just use the word icons. Icons are even original icon. How about the word theme? Better word? Maybe not. I don't know. What's the date? Are we going to use the 24th? Why not? 2-24-23. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can name it whatever you want. Whatever makes sense to you. Original icon theme 2-24-23. So you know in that file and what's in there, roughly. Whatever you name. I'm not going to do these other two. So you can resize these to your heart's content. You can also view this in a different manner. Okay. Lots of different things you can do in here. Again, this is Thunar, your file manager. So the icon set is purple. So as soon as you change some of this stuff in here, actually it'd be the yellow one, right? Where's my icons? Oh, it's here. So if I change some of these other ones, the icon sets are different. Now you have some tips regarding not only changing your themes or icons, but you also have another tip for your file manager, how you can manipulate files and at the same time how to do screenshots. I think I covered, well, 2 subjects in one today. Anyways, folks, hopefully you have subscribed to Linux for Seniors. Linux is for everyone. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.